Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hello everybody, Taylor here, Combat Sports UK. Welcome back. I'm delighted to welcome in Dakota Ditcheva. Dakota, how are you doing on this Thursday afternoon?
I'm really well, thank you. Yeah, I'm good.
Amazing. And whereabouts in the world are you at the moment? It seems you're jet setting all over the place, obviously with training camps and things like that. So whereabouts are you right now?
Unfortunately, I'm in the very cold Manchester. And I'm
Manchester,
absolutely freezing.
I can imagine. Yeah, it's pretty cold over here as well where I am. So yeah, not quite Florida, right?
No, not quite.
So as I say, you're kind of finishing off preparations for the December 8th PFL kind of finals fight against Valentina Scottese. How are we feeling about the fight just over a week out now?
Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like I've been waiting all year for it. Since March, since the first fight, I've been waiting. So I'm excited to finally get there and win this belt.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one with how you balance it, right? So you're going to obviously get the first fight in March. Are you planning far ahead in terms of, okay, and then I might fight in September and then it might be December? Or are you just thinking, right, fight by fight? How did you schedule out kind of the season, so to speak?
Yeah, a bit of both, to be honest. You know, I kind of took it one fight at a time. I knew I had to win each fight, so I wasn't thinking too far ahead. But I quite like the structure of knowing when I was fighting in the tournament if I did get through, you know. So it's been a long year. I feel like mentally it's like it takes a bit of a toll on you when you're thinking about it all year, you know. Even though I was fighting in March, I was thinking about December, you know. That March fight, it wasn't over. We've got to go to the next round. And then after the September fight, I was thinking about the next round. So I haven't switched off all year, but I've really enjoyed it at the same time.
Yeah, you can tell you kind of look like you're positively buzzing to finally get this fight underway. How have preparations been, obviously, in the run up to this one? Did you have any time off since the September fight, or how did you kind of structure camp going into this fight?
Yeah, I did have a little bit of time off. I had like a week or two. I went home to Bulgaria because I'm half Bulgarian. So I went and spent a bit of time with family there because obviously I train in America. So I'm on my own, you know, for the full camps over there. So I made sure that I had a little bit of a break between and refreshed, you know, let my mind kind of forget about fighting for a little bit. And then I went straight back into it.
And do you find like there's that extra level of kind of detachment that allows you to kind of ground yourself and come down a little bit by, as you say, going out to Bulgaria, sometimes being in the UK, sometimes being in Florida?
Yeah, 100%. I think I need that little bit of, you know, I need opposite from the sport. You know, I need to switch off because it can get a lot. And normally I do like to stay busy, even when I'm not in a tournament. I like to, you know, fight a lot. Last year I fought 4 times, you know, so for me, I like to stay busy. So that 1 week in between fight camps is important for me. Just to switch off, because if I didn't force myself to have that 1 week, I would just go all year around. You know, I'm kind of in the gym all the time anyway, so it's important for me to have that 1 week that I kind of just let everything go and just enjoy myself.
And is there ever a risk when you go through something like this? I mean, we're talking about a 9-month stretch now. Is there ever a risk of injury? Kind of how do you go about preventing injury? Is it a nutrition thing, a sleep thing? How do you go about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've learned over the years, you know, what works best for me. I've changed different, you know, through each camp, you take the good out of it and you leave the bad behind, you know, and I think I've got to a point now where I know myself quite well. A few years ago, I probably would have overtrained, and the training that I was doing then wouldn't have worked now for this tournament, you know, because I would have been I would have probably had 100 different injuries and be way overtrained, too tired, like too weak. Now, kind of with, you know, knowing different stuff and the knowledge that I've got around me, I just know, you know, how to kind of manage my training and make sure I get the best out of myself, you know. So I think that's the most important thing is just knowing what works best for you and going with that throughout the year.
And then, you know, you go out to Florida to train at American Top Team. I spoke to Chris Duncan a little while ago, and he talked about the atmosphere, the level of training, the level of sparring partners. So from your perspective as well, I mean, they've obviously got really high level female athletes that train there as well. So I'd love to hear kind of from that female perspective how it is training at American Top Team.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the main things for me is the female bodies that I get. Over here in Manchester, there isn't any really like female bodies that I can work with.
Mhm.
So that's the best thing that I get out of being over there is just like, the high level girls to train with, to roll with, sparring partners, things like that. But like you said, the atmosphere in the gym, the structure that they've got over there. I live like right next to the gym when I go there as well. So it's kind of like I'm not traveling all over the place. It's always sunny. So you're not worrying about waking up in the cold or anything like that. Yeah, it's just a completely different life. And people always say to me, like, I mean, I got a little bit of stick when I moved over there and, started training out of American Top Team, which was understandable to a certain degree. But at the same time, this life is tough. We us fighters, we go through a lot, and if I can wake up in the sun and still train hard, why would I not do that? Why would I not better my life and change my life? So that's definitely a plus for me over there.
Yeah, I guess you got to kind of take the wins where you can,
Yeah,
especially when you're going through such grueling camps, right? The sun every day, yeah, it's got to be helpful.
exactly.
So let's reflect a little bit on the previous fight. I mean, you're accustomed to finishes normally in the first or second round in your professional career. Was it? I don't want to say nice, but was it a better experience kind of getting to go the 3 rounds to get a bit more cage time, so to speak, for you?
Yeah, do you know what? My last fight, even though it wasn't the best performance from me, I got the stoppage, but as in like the first rounds, I weren't really too happy with. My range was off quite a lot. That was actually one of my fights I was most proud of, just because I changed, I adapted in the fight. I was able to work different things that I don't normally get to when I get an early finish.
Mhm.
I was able to listen to my corner, which sometimes when I finish it in the first round, I don't get that corner's advice. So I got loads of things from that fight that I actually really enjoyed, an actual experience of being in the cage, quite a long time rather than getting a finish. And it was kind of I got the best of both worlds because I got the experience I wanted throughout the 3 rounds, but then I still got my finish at the end of my highlight reel. So it was a win-win for me, and I was most proud of that one.
Yeah, totally. And like I mean, watching it from my perspective, I mean, I really enjoy the fluency in which you fight and the kind of fluidity. It kind of looks almost like a bit of a dance as well, whilst you're kind of beating somebody up. So, just talking about that finish, was that when you look at it from the outside, it looks like you really drilled that, and it looks like that came from a moment where you saw it and you just put it together. How much of a mixture was it for you of what you trained and what you drilled, and then the intuition in the moment to go and hit those 2 shots that you hit on her?
I'd probably say it's a bit of both. I think, like we say, drillers make killers, like people get bored of drilling the same thing all the time, but you can never drill it enough. Like that was not a move that them 2 shots weren't something that I said, I want to hit her with them and we're going to drill this until I get it. It's something that we just hit all the time on pads, something that I naturally just throw.
Mhm.
And it wasn't actually until after the fight that we look back at warming up videos and videos the week, fight week where I was throwing it and we were thinking we drill this all the time and I've just gone out there and just thrown it. Like it's strange, some shots you do set up, but some shots like that are just subconscious and you've just drilled it that much that it's ingrained into you and you just know when to throw it. And that's kind of what happened there in that fight. It was just like I finally got my range in the third round. A lot of people don't know, but I didn't kick at all in that camp for that fight, the full 8 weeks, because I broke my toe and I had quite a swollen foot. I wasn't able to kick or anything. Um, so I think that's why my range was off a little bit personally. I hadn't, been able to, she was catching my leg a few times and stuff. So when I finally got that range back in the third round, that's what happened straight away. So I think it's just through natural, like, drilling and things like that things like that come.
Yeah, and it's from an outsider's perspective. It's so interesting to watch the fight and then hear you break it down like that. You say you had to try a lot of different things. Is there moments in the fight where you just kind of twig your decision making to say, okay, this is not working. I need to go and try this, or was it the bit more of the corner work? Like, how was your mental process going through that fight particularly?
Again, a bit of both. I knew after the first round straight away, I knew that I needed to stop doing certain things. And when I went back to the corner and got that advice, they said, they gave me the right advice and said, in that instance. It was stop body kicking because she's catching your leg, you know, keep your distance, you know, things like that. That's why that advice in the corner is so important for me to experience now. And that's why sometimes when I get an early stoppage, I'm not the happiest. A lot of people are happy for me, and it's great to have no injury and get out. But at the same time, I want to learn, and that's where I'm going to learn the most, in the cage. So, you know, coming back to the corner and being able to listen and then go out and change a little bit was just showing how much I'm developing as a fighter, and being able to adapt each round and change what wasn't working to then win. And I was happy that with how everything went, to be honest.
No, amazing. And congratulations on that win. Like I said, a really beautiful finish. And that leads you up really nicely to this kind of final that's going down in Dublin in just over a week's time. Looking at Valentina Scozzini, sorry. She doesn't have too much in terms of a pro record. What have you kind of seen of her so far? Have you been able to, I mean, she fought kind of early in March this year. She hasn't been as active as you. What are you kind of seeing in her at the moment?
I haven't seen too much, if I'm going to be honest. I've watched a little bit of the March fight, you know, from the first round, but I haven't seen it all. She got a split decision, so she's obviously had a tough fight there. Obviously, game to go out and keep fighting, but yeah, she got a bye in the second round, which I would have liked to see her fight then. But it is what it is, you know. I'm prepared. I've trained hard, and I'm just going to go in and do what I always do. You know, I never fixate too much on what my opponent's doing. You know, they can change each fight. Like me in my fight, my first round was completely different to my third. So you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, too right. And I mean, should everything kind of go well in this fight, how do you see yourself fitting into the kind of mainstream PFL and kind of making that transition? Obviously, for the next season would be the hope.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, that was the plan at the beginning, to do PFL Europe, win this belt, and then go to the main season. But I'm not sure what the plans are with that. What weight divisions they're going to do next year for the global season. Obviously, Bellator now is kind of going to rock everything again. We've got a nice 125 division in Bellator, so if they bring a few of the girls over from there, it could be interesting. You know, I'm up for anything really, as long as they keep me busy. Like I said, I want at least 3 fights next year too, so I'm happy to go with whatever.
Keeping busy, keeping active. And
yeah.
One thing that really jumps out to me, obviously, you're becoming quite the personality, quite the star, especially among the British fans and out there in the States as well, is just where you find the time. I mean, if you look at your social media, you're putting up blogs. You've got your own kind of clothing company, fightwear company as well, that I want to touch on in a bit as well. But where do you divide everything up and say, okay, my time's here to focus on that, then this, then the fighting? How does it all come together?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think I just keep it moving. I know how important social media is these days. Sponsors, I need to keep, I need supportive sponsors around me, so I've got to keep promoting them things. And I get a lot of support. I get a lot of support and motivation around people. I don't know how I juggle it. Sometimes I get frustrated, like this camp I probably cried more than I've ever cried the whole year. Like emotions, sometimes it can get too much, but we just make it work. I'm just super blessed to have this life and be doing what I love every day. And how can I not keep it moving when I'm getting all these opportunities and, things that people only ever dream of? So I just kind of keep it moving and fake it till you make it.
No, you're doing a lot better than faking, trust. So the fightwear company, so Dare by Dakota, that's something you've designed and you're putting out. Just talk a little bit about that as well and how exciting that is for you.
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been really girly since, I've never been like, I was a little bit like a little like teenage boy when I was younger, but I've always loved girly things, from fighting and things like that. I've always wanted to wear like a fight skirt. That's kind of something I always did in Thai boxing. And then I just saw a little bit of a market for it, some like young girls fighting in skirts and, showing the style through the fight wear and things like that. So I set up that little brand, and that's something that's gone on the back burner a little bit because a lot of other things have taken over, but I've got some good plans with it in the next few years. So hopefully I'll be able to get it going again. But it's just a way of kind of still showing my personality and my girly side, as well as getting in a cage and fighting.
And just kind of last one from me really is just on that as well. You talk about like a fight brand for kind of young girls to show their personality, show their colors. It strikes me that you're really thinking about your own legacy as well as your current fight career and what you want to give back to the younger generation coming through. So is that something that you actively kind of think about, inspiring young people to come through and follow the same path that you have, as well as obviously setting up the fight brand?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just, I think, through my experiences, I want to be able to, be a big inspiration and, show to the next generation that they can be who they want to be. I want to wear a fight skirt when I fight, so I'm going to do that. And, I want to get in a cage, I'm going to do that. And, I think I'm just going to be me. And I think that's the one thing that I want to prove to a lot of girls coming up now is you can be whatever you want to be. You don't have to follow the crowd and do what everyone else is doing. You can just find ways to show your personality and go with what you love and what makes you happy.
Oh, amazing. That's a really lovely message to end on. I mean, I'll throw over to you. Do you have any sponsors or shout outs or anyone in particular you want to name out on the back end of our chat here, Dakota?
I mean, I just want to thank PFL because this year has been an absolute dream. They've honestly changed my life. So I'm excited to showcase now in Dublin, December the 8th. And thank you to all my sponsors and teammates, coaches, everyone that supports me, and for you guys for these interviews, because that helps too. So thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for your time. Like I said, you're juggling a lot of bats. Keep up the grind. Honestly, I think it's an inspiration what you're doing with the Dare, the clothing company. So keep that up. We're super excited for your fight, December 8th, Valentina Scatizzi in the 125 division final. Hopefully, we'll be seeing you in the big show, whether that's Bellator or PFL next year. So Dakota Ditcheva, thank you so much for your time this evening, and good luck in your fight.
Thank you very much.